unto you, grace and peace unto you. I hope you all are well, and I hope you all are doing great. Have you ever, been misunderstood and feels like that your communication was misinterpreted in a conversation with someone? And that's something that I want to talk about today because often we go through that. We go through someone that may have misunderstood us when we were talking. They misinterpret what we're trying to say, and then that causes an issue in our communication or our relationship. And do you feel like that can possibly be a part of spiritual warfare? And I told you guys, spiritual warfare is not something ultimately where you're physically fighting or something of that sort. It is everyday life. It is everyday discussions. It is everyday communication. It's everyday um, matters. And so this is the reason why I mentioned that the enemy does not want us to dive into this, because he knows that when you defeat it, the war, he knows that you won. And that's why the song goes, and also the saying goes, the battle is won. The battle is won because honestly, when you learn, the method of battle, when you learn how to strategize, it, then you're understanding how to fight and to beat it. And so, and that is my question for today. And so the reason why I'm mentioning that, because a lot of times you can be misinterpreted. You can be misinterpreted because there's a language barrier. There's a communication style barrier. Also, what is that? There's a communication style barrier, and then also there are, times when the way a person may have been raised and brought up can also affect how you communicate as well. So then that may affect the way that you guys talk to one another. And that can go for any way, relationships, friendships, a mom and dad ships, whatever ship, the job ship, all of these ships, okay? And so, how do you handle that? I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, today is a keep it real day. I did, fall short of that, because one of the things for me is that when I see a person when I see a person and I feel like, and I have that unction, when I have that unction that someone is not, when someone is purposely misunderstanding me or acting as though they're not listening carefully, or not that they're acting to not listen carefully, but if they're not trying to hear me or listen to me carefully. And that is one of my triggers. And I believe the Most High God is bringing it to light because he doesn't want us to fall short, and he doesn't want us to fall into sin. So then all of these matters is going to constantly reoccur until we can ask him for help, and so he can help us to get it right. If you've been listening to any of my lives, but one of the first thing I would say to do is pray. Even if you're praying aloud, you know what I mean. You may have to just say certain things aloud, because you need to let it be known. I'm talking to the Most High God. He has to hear me, or whatever. Or right now this is our time, because this is to me, this can make me or break me. This can make me fall into a sinful state, so I don't want to be there. Let me talk to him. Even if you hear me talking to him, I'm going to talk to the Most High God. Ask him for clarity in the conversation, in the matter, in the communication with your person that you're talking to, because hold on, they doing a lot of construction. A lot of construction. Okay. So then, ask them for clarity of who you're speaking to, and ask them for the communication barriers to be broken down, in that communication. Uh, I think you guys can hear me now. So that not understand say or make it look like they didn't understand and just kind of like brushed it over like it was nothing. And so that is something that I know triggers me to, God knows that triggers me to the moon and beyond, you know what I mean? And therefore, in those time frames, the first thing that you do is pray, because the Most High God is getting your attention through the matter, and that's honestly speaking, because He wants you to know, like, all right, look, you have some weakness there that needs to be strengthened in that time frame, and so the Most High God wants to help you through it. So then that is a time that you call on Him, when you start realizing that you're getting triggered, like I mentioned I do. You start to notice that you're starting to gain angry or whatever, that occur. That's when you know that the enemy is involved, because he likes it when people are angry or conquering the situation or controlling the situation by trying to actually control your emotions. And so then when you notice these things taking place, that is when you begin to call on the Most High God for His help, so He can help you win these battles that are at hand. Oh my goodness, it didn't transfer over. Where is it? Hold on. Okay, it didn't transfer over. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But anyhow. So then, because like I said, the enemy, he likes to do these different things. Give me one moment. It's hard driving and talking, but I'm working on it. I'm back. All right. So yeah, so like the enemy, he really likes to distort peace. He likes to make it uncomfortable for you. He doesn't want you to be in a relaxed state of mind, in peacefulness. He likes to interpret wording that's being said, and it causes like I said, mentioned confusion. It starts to become frustrating. It starts to become just more like aggravating for that person. And so then that will cause a person to react in a way that is not of God. But then honestly, if you are aware of these things that the enemy does, you can call on Him, with every strength in your body and with all your might, call on the Most High God for His assistance and His help, so that He can help you through, so He can guide you in the matter, because the Most High God wants to help you. He doesn't want to see you fail. Oh my goodness, what's wrong with this car? He doesn't want to see you fail and to be in sin, because the Most High God, He really loves you. He really wants to help you. He really wants to, make sure that you are aligned. And I use that word a lot. So you guys, if you are on here and you are listening, you will know I because it's true. The Most High God wants us to be aligned. Hold on. Why am I? So yeah, so to avoid the emotional turmoil, to avoid the division, to avoid all of those things, we must come to the Most High God and we must pray, to Him, because like I said, he's the intermediator in between everything that is happening. And so with that being said, that He can interrupt and also, uh, together to where it needs to be. Where there's confusion, he can make it blames. He can make it. He can interpret things. Where there's turmoil, he can make it calm again. And where there is division, he can bring it. He can bring things together. So therefore, that's the reason why I say to pray. That's the reason why I mentioned to call on the Most High God, because in our own strength, we wouldn't be able to do it. In our own strength, we wouldn't be able to make it, So with that being said, I hope you guys have a great and prosperous night. Once again, have a great night and take care, and God bless.